Well, last week we had a fantastic weekend in Northern Ireland, but today we're back on the UK mainland. Welcome to the 2018 Cumberland Grand National Scramble. And yes, welcome back once again, and thanks once more for joining me here on Classic Dirt Bike TV for the second video featuring the continuing racing action from the 2018 Cumberland Grand National Scramble here at Lownthwaite Farm in Penrith. Now, I hope you enjoyed all the racing in the first video from this event, as we are now going to continue with the second race from the Twinshock A-Class. Now, race 1 of course was won by our guest of honour at this 2018 event, number 48, Mark Fulton. So we're just waiting on our official starters team of Andrew Kirkwood and Adam Purdom getting the green light to get the second Twinshock A-Class race underway. And so to leave the line, it's a good start by number 3, Walter Bickmore, although it does look like Mark Fulton has secured the whole shot on that 500 Stuart Bland built Honda as they all make their way around a very dusty racetrack to begin lap 1. And so as we wait to pick up our race leader, it's number 48, Mark Fulton, on that Stuart Bland built 500 Honda machine. Second place is Alan Bott. Third place, it looks like Barry Turnbull, who is in third position, but some very quick riders in this Twinshock A-Class race. So it looks like a good battle developing between number 74 Alan Bott and Barry Turnbull. And just going through there is number 1, that's Paul Chiappa, and Craig Smith, number 25, two Scottish riders. So as we look towards the far side of the racetrack to pick up our leader once again, which should be Mark Fulton, or Rocky as he's known to his friends, and Mark's motocross history has been well documented, and an ex-Kawasaki Works rider, and even had a Kawasaki model named after him called the Mark Fulton Replica 125. So here's a battle for second position. It's Barry Turnbull taking on Alan Bott, but it looks like Barry Turnbull has the advantage over the Wigan rider Alan Bott, number 74 on the 490 Michael. 427 there in fourth position is Lee Holland. But you can see there's a very good scrap turning out here between the second, third and fourth riders. It's Barry Turnbull in second position. Third is Alan Bott with Lee Holland in fourth. And so here is your race leader, number 48, Mark Fulton. And Mark in his early years was snapped up by Alec Wright of the Team Green Kawasaki to race in the experts class, where he then repaid Alec's faith in him by winning the ACU Expert Championship and the coveted Champion of Champions title with 4 straight wins on a fresh, straight out of the crate 125 Kawasaki, which was quite some feat for a young rider at that time. So there's Paul Chiappa coming through with Craig Smith very close behind. Paul Chiappa, a very experienced Scottish rider, and has won the Scottish title about 16 times as far as I'm aware, but when Paul Chiappa and Craig Smith lock horns, as you're watching here, almost anything can happen, and usually does on numerous occasions. Okay, there is your race leader. It's number 48, that's Mark Fulton on the 500 Honda. Second position should be Barry Turnbull, also on a 500 Honda, with Alan Bott in third position. There's Alan Bott and Lee Holland just going through there in fourth. But we are now looking at the battle for fifth position between Paul Chiappa and Craig Smith. Both of these riders, of course, from Dunfermline in Fife in Scotland, and these are two of Scotland's finest Twinshock riders. And this young man here, Craig Smith, number 25, is certainly up there with the best of them. So here is your current race leader. It's still Mark Rocky Fulton, who has got a decent lead over second place man, which should be number 1, Barry Turnbull, on the big 500 Honda. It looks like Lee Holland has now moved up into third position, leaving Alan Bott, number 74, in fourth. But here is the challenge between the two Scottish riders of Paul Chiappa and Craig Smith. Always a good battle when these two riders lock horns. Two very talented riders from north of the border. And although both these riders are the best of friends and even travel to these race meetings together, there's certainly no love lost when each rider takes to the track on their own particular machine. So it was a win for Mark Fulton in first place. Barry Turnbull was in second, with Lee Holland securing that third place finish. Next up we have the Twinshock B class. More of those very talented Twinshock racers, and as they leave the line, it's a good start by Jim Colligan, number 18, on that 490 Maiko. But as they make their way around on lap 1, it looks like number 133 is your race leader, which unfortunately is not listed in the racing programme. Number 18 is Jim Colligan. Andy Malak is in third position on that 500 4-stroke Armstrong. So your current race leader is number 133 on the Maiko in first position. Second is number 18, Jim Colligan. Third is Andy Malak on that 500 Armstrong. Number 8 is Andrew Cleaver, just making his way through. Number 88 there is Billy Pentland on the YZ 490 Yamaha with its Twinshock conversion. So as we have a look to the far side of the track to pick up our race leader, I think it's still number 133, and I do apologise for not being able to name the rider's name, as he is not listed in the day's racing programme, but nevertheless a very quick looking rider in this Twinshock B class race. Second place should still be this man here, Jim Colligan, number 18, also from Scotland. Jim absolutely loves his Maiko 490s. He has had a few different machines in the past, but he always seems to come back to his beloved Maikos. Andy Malak, number 43, going through there. Andrew Cleaver chasing him on the 500 Honda. As the rest of the runners and riders make their way through the turn at this what is becoming increasingly dusty track here at Lownthwaite Farm. So here is your race leader. It's number 133, which looks like it's a 490 Maiko, and going very well in this second Twinshock B class race of the day. Now, of course, many of these riders that can't be named in these races are usually quite late entries for the race, and in that case their name and details are not listed in the racing programme, so it's quite hard for me to actually identify them on this video. So it's still number 133, your race leader, who is coming under increasing pressure from number 240, who is another rider that is not listed in the day's programme, but very quick looking nonetheless. As the remainder of the chasing pack make their way through, number 2 just coming through there is Trevor Petrie on that 600 Armstrong. Also coming towards us we have Lee Johnson on his little KX Kawasaki. But here is a battle for first and second place positions. It looks like number 240 is now your new race leader. Once again unable to identify the rider due to not being listed in the day's programme, but he's doing a fine job out there. Number 133 is in second position. Both these riders mounted on these German Michaels. Coming towards us there, number 18 Jim Colligan, as he crosses the line to start his last and final racing lap in this second Twinshock B-Class race. But as our leader heads towards the checkered flag, it looks like it's going to be a nice win for number 240 on that Michael. Second is going to be number 133, who led at the early part of this race, but a very nice ride between both these riders. Okay, next up we have the second race for the Twinshock C-Class, and as they leave the line, another good collection of Twinshock racers in this particular class. Now number 14 Brian Hamilton seemed to have made a good start into turn 1, but went slightly wide and lost track position, so everybody seems to be safely round the first 2 or 3 turns as they begin lap 1. Now that is Paul Armour, who seems to have a problem with his lovely Montesa Capra. And so as we pick up our race leader, it looks like it's number 155, that's Stephen Atkin on his 400 Suzuki, 1978 model. So it's Stephen Atkin, your race leader at this point in time. Now Stephen looks like he's already beginning to open up a short gap on second place man, which looks to me like it could be Lee Bateman on the 490 Michael from 1982. So it's Stephen Atkin, your race leader. Lee Bateman is now in second position as the rest of the runners and riders follow through. And so as we look to the far side of the track to pick up our race leaders, it looks like it's still number 155, that's Stephen Atkin on the 400 Suzuki, being now hounded by number treble 3, that's Lee Bateman on the Michael. Lee Bateman appears to be catching Stephen on the Suzuki, so it could be a good battle to the finish line between these two very talented and quick riders. So things appear to be hotting up nicely as these two riders head towards completing another lap, but it's still number 155 Stephen Atkin who leads Lee Bateman on the Michael. So it's Suzuki versus Michael as both these riders head through to complete another lap, but it looks like Lee Bateman has got his eyes set on a win in this second Twinshock C-Class race. So we are now looking to the top side of the track to see if there's any change in leadership, but it's still Stephen Atkin, who's hanging on to that pole position, being hounded by Lee Bateman on the 500 Michael. But Stephen Atkin doing superbly on that little nimble 400cc Suzuki. But this is an excellent ride from Stephen Atkin on this Suzuki bike. He's still managing to keep Lee Bateman at arm's length as they come round to complete yet another racing lap. Now just coming towards us there is Mr. Wealthsport himself, number 53. That's Bill Brown, who does wonders for Twinshock racing in the UK, and is a great ambassador for our Twinshock racing sport. So here is your race leader. It's still Stephen Atkin, who is still managing to keep behind him that 490 Michael of Lee Bateman. He's doing really well, and he fully deserves to take the win in this particular race. Now there once again is Bill Brown, who is racing against number treble 6. That's Gary Colnell on the 125 Suzuki. So we've got Bill Brown on the big 490 Michael versus the little 125 and more nimble Suzuki. Now here is Lee Bateman, number treble 3. Now there doesn't seem to be much sign of Stephen Atkin on his little Suzuki, so this could be your brand new race leader, Lee Bateman on the Michael. And so it looks like it was a win for Lee Bateman on the Michael, as we take a look at Bill Brown and Gary Colnell on the Suzuki crossing the finish line. Okay, next up, this is race 13. This is a combined pre-60s and limited pre-68 up to 350cc and the pre-75s up to 250cc. And I do apologise for the shaky start, but even photographers have to take a leak. Okay, as we look to the far side of the track to pick up our race leader, and would you believe it's that man once again, Chris Winder, on that absolutely flying Honda CR250 Elsinore. Now you may remember that Chris won both the British Championship races here at the Cumberland Grand National in the pre-75 class, so that should give his championship title boost a good lift. Second place man coming through is 646, I think that's Joe Chell. Joss Goddard going through there on the Greaves, as the rest of the chasing pack make their way through the turn. Now looks like a problem for number 601, that's Mark Whittam on his CZ. It looks like Mark's taking a little off-track excursion through the ropes there. So that was Chris Winder, your race leader, who just went past. Second position is still number 646, I think that's Joe Chell. Third position is Joss Goddard on the 380 Greaves Griffin. And number 65 there, that's John Bateup on the 1958 650 Tripsa, the Triumph engine in the BSA frame. Going very well on that quite old machine. And so here is your race leader. It's still number 285, that's Chris Winder. Seems to be racing on his own in this particular race with no challengers to be seen within the vicinity, but Chris going absolutely superbly on this 250 Elsinore Honda. Now, second position is still Joe Chell. Third is Joss Goddard on the Greaves 380 Griffin. John Bateup once again going through as the rest of the chasing pack make their way to complete another lap. This Cumberland Grand National Classic and Twinshock Scramble is held here at Lownthwaite Farm each and every June, and most of the time we get blessed with superb weather like today, but occasionally we do get a wet weekend. In fact, there was one previously one year that this event was cancelled due to the horrendously wet and heavy downpours. And so we're looking at the battle for second position between Joe Chell on the 4-stroke bike with Joss Goddard riding that 380 Greaves Griffin. Number 29 here is Derek McCauley. Number 89 is Mike Bell. So as our race leader heads towards the checkered flag, it looks like it's going to be another win for that very fast CR250 Honda Elsinore of Chris Winder. As we take a look at Derek McCauley on the Bull Taco, coming round to complete his last and final lap of this race. Okay, next up we have the pre-1968 over 350cc class. As the riders leave the line, it's a good start by what looks like Liston Bell. But it looks like number 99, Greg Speed on the Shenny BSA, has made a challenge and taken the lead of this pre-1968 over 350cc class race as they all safely make the turn. So as we look to pick up our race leader, it's still Liston Bell on the Jawa Matisse, followed by number 99 Greg Speed on the Sherry BSA. Aaron Graves is there, number 188 on that equally quick BSA, with Lewis Bell, number 9, hot in pursuit. And so as we look towards the far side of the track to pick up our race leader, it's still Liston Bell, your race leader, from number 99, Greg Speed. Now it looks like Lee Kelly is now moved up into second place on that Rickman Jawa 600. So it's Liston Bell with Lee Kelly challenging for the lead of this race, and it looks like Lee Kelly is going to steal that first place position, but Liston Bell appears to be holding on. So as we pick up our race leaders once again, it's still Liston Bell who is your race leader. Liston, of course, is riding that big 540 Jawa Matisse bike. Second is number 824, that's Lee Kelly. Third is Aaron Graves. Fourth is number 99, that's Greg Speed. But it looks like Aaron Graves has a problem with his B40 BSA, and he was going so well in this race and appears to have some kind of mechanical issue. So we're looking towards our race leader. It's still number 98, that's Liston Bell on the Jawa Matisse, as he comes round to complete yet another racing lap. Second position is still number 824, that's Lee Kelly on the Rickman Jawa. Third place is Greg Speed on the Shenny BSA, but here is your race leader as he comes towards the camera. It's number 98, Liston Bell from Scotland. Second is still Lee Kelly. Third is number 99, that's Greg Speed. Now our race leader Liston Bell appears to be opening up a substantial gap between himself and second place rider Lee Kelly, and Liston absolutely riding superbly here on that big 500 Jawa Matisse as he comes round to cross the line to complete yet another racing lap. Conditions here at Lownthwaite Farm for this Cumberland Grand National event are absolutely superb. Not too much dust flying around, so that's good news in terms of the riders' point of view. Second place going through there, that's Lee Kelly, with Greg Speed in third position. And so as we look at our race leader, who is coming round to start his last and final lap of this pre-1968 over 350cc class race, it's Liston Bell, number 98 on that very quick Jawa Matisse. Lee Kelly is still in second place with Greg Speed in third. And so, barring any mechanical issues, it should be a nice comfortable ride to the checkered flag for Liston Bell in first position. Second man there is Lee Kelly. Third now is William Baitup on that big and very quick Jawa. Greg Speed is now in fourth position. And so as we look towards our race leader as he comes round to take the checkered flag in this pre-1968 over 350cc class race, it's number 98, Liston Bell on that 540 Jawa Matisse. Second position is going to be Lee Kelly with William Baitup in third. Okay, next up it's a combined pre-60s Unlimited, pre-68 up to 350cc and the pre-75s up to 250cc as they all safely make the turn and begin lap one at a very dusty Lownthwaite Farm. And so it looks like our pole position man is number 44. It looks like Jonathan Bethel once again on the Alan Clues CCM. Jonathan riding this CCM superbly this weekend with his father's race number 44 on the bike. As you can see, another good lineup of riders for this combined race event. So there is your race leader, still number 44, Jonathan Bethel. I think the second place man is now number 857, that's Ashley Wilson on the CZ 380. But it's Jonathan Bethel with the early lead in this particular race as he comes round to complete lap one. It looks like Chris Chell is in there in third position. And so the positions as they stand on the track is number 44, Jonathan Bethel on the CCM. Second is number 857, that's Ashley Wilson on the CZ. Third is Chris Chell on the Shenny BSA. Now, of course, three different classes in this particular race, and they will be scored individually as they cross the electronic lap timing. So it looks like Ashley Wilson is now your new race leader on that 1973 380 CZ. Chris Chell is also now in second place, passing Jonathan Bethel. Number 50 there is Les Calderwood in a very good fourth position. Ian Robertson coming through, number 100, who we sadly lost in 2019. But it's great to see Ian back out on a motocross bike again. Okay, as we look to the top side of the racetrack to pick up our race leader, looks like Ashley Wilson is our new race leader still, and looks like Chris Chell just took a fall in that last corner, so Ashley Wilson will be in first position. Second will now be number 44, Jonathan Bethel, and moving up into third position will be Clackmannan rider Leslie Calderwood, who is going superbly on that Joe Maxwell CCM. Looks like Chris Chell is back up and running once again, and he's moved up to fourth position already. And so we're looking at our race leader. That's Ashley Wilson from Rothwell, riding superbly on that Czechoslovakian CZ or CZ machine, as I know my American friends like to call these bikes. But here in Europe and in the UK especially, we always tend to call these bikes CZs. So it looks like a very good run for Ashley Wilson. Seems to have stretched out a decent lead on the second place man, which should be still Jonathan Bethel there, number 44 on the CCM. Third is now Joe Chell. Fourth is Les Calderwood. Some very quick riders in this combined race event. So we're looking at our third place position rider. It looks like Les Calderwood, number 50, on that Joe Maxwell 1974 remanufactured CCM. But here is your race leader. It's Ashley Wilson on his very rapid two-stroke CZ machine. So as Ashley makes the turn, it should be Jonathan Bethel who's your second placed rider. Jonathan riding superbly here this weekend at the Cumberland Grand National. Chris Chell is back at there in third position. Fourth place is number 115, that's Nick Archer. But our race leader, Ashley Wilson, has already crossed the finish line, with Jonathan Bethel coming through to take that second position from this young man here, Chris Chell, in third. Okay, next up we have the Clubman class once again, and a nice picture of the Bell Racing family there. Look like they're enjoying themselves today. So here we go with the second race for the Clubman class. These are just races set up for people who just want to really have a bit of fun on their old classic racing machines. But it's a good start from Ian Ridley, number 51 there, who of course is responsible for much of the effort that has gone into building this Cumberland Grand National track. So thanks to Ian for all his help there. And of course this Clubman class is a great way of introducing new riders to the sport of classic and vintage motocross. If you've got an old
racing bike in your garage or lockup, then you can get it out and enter it into the Clubman class with absolutely no trophies or no pressure. Just take your bike out and have a bit of fun around the racetrack with more like-minded riders. So it looks like our race leader is number 115, that's Gary Smith on the AMD CZ machine. So as we pick up our race leader once again, it's number 116, that's Gary Smith on the AMD CZ machine. Number 55 is another one of the riders that weren't listed in the programme, but I know that particular bike belongs to Keith Barnes, and he has loaned his lovely Clues Stroker to this very lucky chap to take a ride out in this Cumberland Grand National Scramble. Ian Ridley going through there in 3rd position. So hopefully this racetrack here at Lownthwaite Farm will not get too dusty before the end of this race event. But your race leader is still number 116, that's Gary Smith on the AMD CZ machine, and Gary doing very well in this second Clubman class race of the day. Now that number 55 bike of Keith Barnes, the rider, as far as I know, has some connection with the new CCM bikes that are now being manufactured. I still apologise for not being able to name the actual rider, but he's doing very well on that Keith Barnes Clues Stroker. But Gary Smith is still going quite well on the CZ as he heads round to complete yet another racing lap. Second position is still number 55. Number 63 coming through there, that's Fraser Dykes, who actually owns the AMD construction company. Fraser riding his big BSA. But it looks like Gary Smith is becoming under increased pressure from that number 55 rider on the Keith Barnes Clues Stroker machine. It looks like he's lining himself up to take the lead of this particular race. So it's a Czechoslovakian CZ versus this British-made Clues Stroker machine. Remember, these Clues Stroker bikes were the very first machines that Alan Clues began building when he started his company up in 1972. Alan, of course, would later go on to rename these bikes into CCMs and Clues competition machines. But it looks like number 55 is now our new race leader, doing superbly on that old BSA derived machine. Gary Smith is now in 2nd position on the CZ. And number 27 here on the little Suzuki is yet another of the riders that are not listed in the racing programme, so unfortunately the rider can't be named. Many of these riders that enter to race at this event, if their entries don't come in before the racing programme is printed, then unfortunately they will not be listed in the racing programme, but they of course can still race their machines. But it looks like Gary Smith has now retaken the lead of this race, and Gary looks like he's wanting to try his damnedest to try and win this Clubman class race, but it's a good little scrap developing between this Czechoslovakian two-stroke machine and the Alan Clues Stroker. So as Gary Smith comes round to complete yet another lap. Number 55 there is still in second position. And these Clues strokers are now being remanufactured once again, so if you have some spare cash you can get one of these lovely Alan Clues derived BSA machines rebuilt for you. Number 143, I think that's Stevie Shaw on his Husqvarna 250. Now this is just one of the bikes that Stephen brings to these classic events. He also races a nice twin port CZ machine. And so as we look at our race leader, Gary Smith, number 116, heading towards the checker flag, and it looks like Gary's going to take the win in this second Clubman class race of the day. This Clubman class, as I mentioned earlier, is just really a bit of fun for riders that want to take their old classic race bikes onto the track for a quick blast around. No trophies or accolades attached to it, just built for fun really. So it's Gary Smith who is going to win this race with number 55 on the Clues Stroker in second. And so from the Clubman class we now move on to the very quick riders on the Twinshock A class. And we've already seen some fantastic racing from these boys, so look out for the likes of Mark Fulton, Paul Chiappa, Barry Turnbull. We've got Chris Cannon on the Suzuki, that's Paul Chiappa there in the blue, Mark Fulton there with the black helmet, our guest of honour here at the Cumberland Grand National. We have Alan Bott there in the yellow with the camera on his helmet, Craig Smith next to him, Chris Cannon there on the Suzuki. So some very quick riders in this particular class. And so as we wait for the gate to drop, the riders are under starters orders and they're away. A good start by Paul Chiappa, but looks like Mark Fulton has once again taken that early lead. Paul Chiappa is in second place, Barry Turnbull is in third, Alan Bott looks like he's in fourth as they head to the top of the hill to begin at lap 1. And so as we pick up our race leader in this third Twinshock A-class race of the day, it's number 48. It's Mark Rocky Fulton being chased by number 1 Barry Turnbull on that 500 Twinshock Honda. Two very quick riders on two very quick bikes. Alan Bott is in third position and he is being chased by number 427. That's Lee Holland on the 1984 500 Honda. And so on lap 1 it's Mark Fulton, number 48. Second is Barry Turnbull, number 1 on the very quick 500 Honda. Should be a good race this between these two riders, but it's Mark Fulton with the advantage on that Stuart Bland built 500 Honda. This bike of course is also owned by Brian Wood, as the rest of the Twinshock A-class riders make their way through the dust. But it's still Mark Fulton, number 48, your race leader from second place rider Barry Turnbull, number 1. Third position should be Alan Bott. And Mark Fulton, of course, a very quick and very successful motocross rider during his career, and many of Mark's friends still talk of the 1983-84 season that Mark raced for the Cajiva Works team when he had a 10-lap scrap with the famous Georges Jobet at the Stamford Bridge Supercross, where both riders kept swapping the lead, and for only Georges Jobé to pass Mark on that very last lap. But as you can see, Mark in his more maturing years has certainly still not lost any of that breathtaking speed he had in his early years. Barry Turnbull is doing well as well in there in second position. Craig Smith going through. Paul Chiappa is also doing well on the 81 490 Michael. But your race leader is still number 48 Mark Fulton, being hounded by number 1 there, Barry Turnbull. Barry Turnbull, of course, another very successful motocross racer, and Barry is doing his utmost to try and catch the flying Cockermouth rider Mark Fulton. So these two very quick riders will give you a rough idea just how quick these guys are circumnavigating this Lownthwaite racetrack. So here is your race leader Mark Fulton on the Brian Wood owned Honda 500 machine. Very quick bikes, these two bikes. Barry Turnbull still in second place. It looks like Craig Smith has possibly moved up into third position, with Paul Chiappa here in fourth. Two very quick riders from Dunfermline in Scotland. And so as we look at our race leader Mark Fulton, number 48, as he heads on his last lap towards the checkered flag for his third win of the day. It looks like it's going to be a nice comfortable win for Mark Fulton. Second will be Barry Turnbull, barring any mechanical issues, but this has been a cracking afternoon's racing for this man, Mark Fulton. Barry Turnbull also very quick, but just couldn't get onto terms with Mark at the end of the day. So it's a win for Mark Fulton in first position. Second is Barry Turnbull. Third will be number 25, Craig Smith, with Scottish champion Paul Chiappa in fourth.
Right, we'll get this presentation underway. Charlotte's going to give me a hand with it. In fact, she's going to do it. I guess and he had a fantastic schoolboy career. And at the age of 18, he got put into the AMCA, which this meeting's under today. In 1981, he got a fantastic start in that year. He became European champion in the AMCA, the IMBA. He won the 250 class, just missed the super class. Riding works, Kawasaki, Barlick, right, everything was going great. Natural ability, he was going to go right to the top. Then in 82, in the first 125 British Championship race, he just overtaken Dave Thorpe, would you believe, and he caught his foot in a rut, and he had got a very bad fracture of his leg, which did, it's easy to say these things, but it did set him back a bit. But he still went on to be a Works Kajiva rider, Works Kawasaki rider, Grand Prix rider. He actually got a bike named after him. The Kawasaki A7 125 was a Mark Fulton replica. Not many people can say that. In 1987, he was fourth in the British Championship for the 250s. He rode for Bill Brown for several years, and then he won 3 senior championships in Scotland, Northern Centre champion, and one of the highlights, he rode with the very best in the world. During probably what's the golden era of motocross, really, the 80s. And in, was it 83 or 84 Mark at Stamford Bridge Supercross? 83 on the Kajiva. He mixed it with the great 5 times world champion, the late George Jobé. Passed each other for 10 laps. Jobé passed him on the last lap to win it. Held out Mark's hand up as on the podium as the winner with him. And so you remember things like that. I mean, so mixed with the very best. And it's probably, arguably, I don't want to say definitely was, because we had Norman Barrow and quite a few people who were good from this area, but Mark Fulton is arguably the best rider from this area ever in motocross. A natural talent, and he showed us today It was a master class to beat a lot of younger riders in the Twinshock A class, and it was a delight to watch him. So Mark's our guest of honour today, and his daughter Charlotte's going to help with the presentation of the trophies, and she's going to do a little speech to start with. So I'll just hand the microphone over to Charlotte.
Thank you. So I've made a little speech because I was getting quite excited that Daddy might need a little help. So here we go. Welcome. Today we have had a lot of good few riders, and everyone has done extremely well in the heat. A big thank you to all the committee for such a good day. A big well done to my dad for winning all 3 races, although he is very old. Thank you, Brian, for the bike, its tricks. Barry Turnbull done very well, and all the other riders too. Thank you for coming. Now I will pass you on to my old dad, Rocky.
Right, so we're doing the Clubman. Third was Dave Godley, number 39, all the way from Ipswich. Helps put the track up. Is he still here? Probably is.
Thank you.
Lovely, thanks very much.
Right, second in the Clubman is the boss, number 51, Ian Ridley.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, right.
Gotcha.
Oh,
Thank you.
Well done, Mark.
And first in the Clubman from Scotland on the 380 CZ, Gary Smith. First Clubman winner.
Thanks, Mark. Cheers.
Right, Gary, there's money for this one.
Money.
There you are. Okay.
Well worth it.
Right, 360 in third place, John Baitup. Travelled up a long way, John. Ricky Baitup. He might have set off. He's gone, yeah, he's gone. Second, Simon Chell, the daddy of the Chells. Former classic trials rider, moved to Scrambling.
Oh, very good. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. See you.
And first in the 360, Simon's son Joe Chell. Joe's first, well done Joe.
Thank you. Cheers.
Right.
Thanks for that.
Okay, Joe.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Right, we've only got a winner for the pre-68 up to, and that's Josh Hulbert is the winner of pre-68 up to 350 it is. Josh Hulbert, is Josh here?
He was.
Josh not here? No. Right, 368 over 350. Third, it's one of the Womacs. Gene Womack in third.
Thank you very much.
There you go, mate. Okay, Gene. Picture.
Picture, Gene. Yeah, don't want to get your pictures, riders. Charlotte's in as well. It's all cuddled together, do you? Right, in second place in the 368 over, Lee Kelly. Lee here. He's from the Midlands. No. The winner of the 368 over 350 from Scotland, Liston Bell. Liston involved in that last race for the Cumberland Grand National, absolutely brilliant riding.
Brilliant.
Spectacular rider is Liston. So 375 up to third place, Joseph James. 375 up to third place, Joseph James. No, he's not here, is he? No, it's getting a bit late. Some of these people have got to get set off because they've got work in the morning. Second, Chris Lewis. Dale Snowman.
Got it.
And in first place, I don't know whether he'll still be here because he lives a long way in Arbroath in Scotland, Derek McCauley. Dangerous Derek. No, he's not here. Right, we've got 375 over. In first place, Jonathan Bethel. He rode very well today, Jonathan. With dad's number 44.
He's in charge, you and him.
Charlotte's in charge.
What about? I'm third. No, I'm third. Take first.
Is he need one of them?
First time, get it right.
Thank you.
Most right.
Second in 375 overs, Ashley Wilson.
There you go, cheers, mate. Thank you. No problem there.
Thanks, Ashley.
Cheers, Ashley. Thank you.
And first place in the 375 overs, Chris Chell, former British Classic champion, had a terrible accident a few years ago, recovered from it and rode brilliant today. That Cheney BSA.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
378 Unlimited, third place, Luke Womack. Yeah, there, Luke.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well done, Luke. Second in the 378 Unlimited, Ian Luggs Robertson. Luggs Robertson. Right, first in the 378 Unlimited, Chris Woodward.
Cheers, Mark.
Right, we've got Twinshock A's here. Third, Alan Bott.
Thank you very much. Where on, Alan?
Hang on, turn around. Got it. Thank you.
Cheers, Alan.
Second in the Twinshock A's, Barry Turnbull.
I'll take it for him if you want.
Twinshock A's, and we know who was first in the Twinshock A's, don't we, Charlotte?
Yeah.
Who was it?
Daddy.
Daddy.
Daddy Pig.
Daddy Pig?
Come here, can you catch it too?
No, not Daddy Pig.
Thank you.
And got it.
Well done. Keep on.
Well done, Mark. Well done, Charlotte. Right, Twinshock B's, third place. I think he rode a Kawasaki, Gary Craddock.
Oh, got in there. We'll get us still here.
He rode very well, the Kawasaki, the green meanie.
Yeah, that's it. I was watching you. Still going alright.
Yeah, it's good. Got it.
Well done, Gary. Second in the Twinshock B's. Local man helps put the track up and everything else. David Bateman. Nice that 4-stroke Honda, David.
Well done, mate. Couldn't do without you.
Camera, Charlotte.
Charlotte, you're supposed to look at the camera.
Only when you're
First in the Twinshock B's from Preston, John Eden. Is John not here? No. Right, we sorted. Twinshock C's. First, Paul James.
First.
Third, sorry, what am I on about? Third. Twinshock C's. Second, on that white Mako, Trevor Guy.
Charlotte?
Twinshock C, the winner is Lee Bateman. He rode brilliant that Mako. Helped put the track up, take it down, everything else. Right, we're the last race of the day was a cracker, the Cumberland Grand National. Third was Aaron Graves.
Do you know how to flop?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I've got 2 left feet.
It's good because Daddy can't.
Oh, that's alright, yeah.
It's getting worse by the minute.
Bad dance, I'm up for a bit of that. Okay. Thanks, Charlotte.
Oh yeah. Right, we're going to do a change on this one. We're going to do 5th and 4th as well. So in 5th, Ashley Wilson.
Oh.
Gotcha. 4th, Chris Winder.
Done 3rd.
And got it.
Cheers.
In 2nd in the Cumberland Grand National, Chris Chell. What a finish that was! It was absolutely unbelievable. Breathtaking stuff at the end there. Last lap of the day.
Trying, wasn't it? Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And the winner of the Cumberland Grand National and the Alan Purdham Trophy was to Liston Bell. Alan Purdham, of course, was instrumental in the very start of this meeting, years and years ago. The late Alan Purdham, Adam's dad. It's the Alan Purdham Trophy. Well done, Liston. So Charlotte's we're going to have a prize for the best lady rider, so Charlotte's going to shout it out.
Charlotte!
Our lady rider. You want to give her that? Charlotte to Charlotte. She rode very well. Well done both Charlottes. Well done. So that's it, folks. Thanks for coming. Thanks to Mark. Les wants to say something.
Yeah, just as for yourself, Richard, on behalf of Deborah and the riders in Scotland, we thought you make the events, and the 3 years I've been racing, it makes it exciting, your commentary. So we thought we'd get you a few little items to keep
Thanks
warm.
very much.
So you get a bottle of whiskey.
Thanks, Les. Thanks, Scottish riders.
To keep it Scottish, we've got you a nice little
Keep it Scottish.
Harris Tweed hip flask.
Oh, thank you very much.
And we've got you a nice little Talisker with a glass.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Les. Thanks to all the Scottish riders for that.
Yeah, I was just
Much appreciated.
I just
Thank
thought
you.
he makes our meetings, and that's what I thought.
Thank you very much.